I felt the same before going into the fight because I had told my coach, Roy, I personally know him, so I've seen him fight a couple times before, even in the amateurs. But I just think that the experience was too wide. He was coming off a loss a couple fights back, so I kind of knew mentally he was gonna be kind of not 100% unsure of himself, and but at the same time I knew he was gonna come hungry, so I knew it was just a matter of time before we started breaking him down with those body shots, and sure enough, that's what happened. I felt real good. As you can see, I came out clean. Making the weight wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I think honestly, if I would have sacrificed as much as I've been doing it lately, we could have made 118 early on in our career. But I felt real good. I felt real strong. I think during the fight, I was telling my coach after the fight, he was like, oh, it was a good fight. And I was just like, I'm not happy with it. And he's like, why? Like, why aren't you happy with it? I felt like I felt like I was relying too much on my strength instead of breaking my opponent down like I usually am. Because to be honest with you, I'm not a one-punch guy. I've never been a one-punch guy. And I was relying too much on one punch. So I think I should have put my punches more. Going into that fight, I was confident because prior to that, I had lost one fight before that. So getting back on track after that loss was very hard because I knew that I had lost convincingly. It wasn't a debatable decision. It was the referee stopped the fight.
Yeah.
So to get your confidence back, it was kind of a hard thing to go. And I gotta take my hat off to my coach. He stood by me where other people were telling him, oh, we told you he sucked, he's no good, and he stood by me. I remember he got into arguments with a bunch of other coaches that we grew up with, like, just leave him alone. And he stood by my side, and I remember he's just like, hey, you know what, we're going to get through this. So if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have gotten over that hump. And now that we're ranked high again, and now ever since that loss, we've had consecutive knockouts. Now this last fight was our third consecutive knockout, and I plan on hopefully keep it going. Yeah. So no, I mean it's okay talking about it. Before maybe a month or two after the loss, I probably wouldn't be able to talk about it. I probably would say, oh, I'm over it. But now that I am over it, I can talk about it. It's easy. It happened. It's on my record. It's nothing. No matter what we do on this point on my career, it's still gonna be there. People can sit here and say, oh, you killed yourself to make weight. You didn't look like yourself. Bottom line is, if I didn't feel 100% going to that fight, I should have told my coach. So, I got over it. I told myself, you know what, it happened. I lost in the amateurs. I got to pick myself up and go. All the other fighters out there who have suffered early on losses or are going through what I went through right now, you know what, you just pick yourself up. Go at it. Give it your all, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be old and look back and say I should have, could have.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone had offered me, I'm not gonna say who it was, but for a different organization, and I told my coach, I was like, no, I was like, you know what, I was like, I want to remain loyal to WBC, just like I've been with Golden Boy. Golden Boy, they were the first big promoter that took their chance on me, and I stuck loyal. They also still signed me after I lost. So I was like, I don't want to fight for any other organization. I just want to stick my loyalty to WBC. This is something that we had brought up when we fought Velez. Before the WBC had ordered all the fighters to do the testing. We had said, okay, we'll test before and after the fight. We got nothing to hide. The only thing that you're going to find in my system is Coca-Cola. That's the only thing. The only thing is Coca-Cola, because when I'm not training, I love Coca-Cola, especially in the bottle. Mexican bottle, yeah. That's the best. Yeah. So, I mean, I got nothing to hide. I can tell you what I put in my body. Nothing in pill form, unless I have a headache. Well, obviously Advil. Yeah. But I that's why I like the WBC, because they're looking out for the fighter's health.
Yeah.
Most people are just like, oh, you know what? They just put two guys in to attract more fans. We just want to make as much money as possible. Whereas the WBC, they're looking out for the fighter, and I think they also did something else too. I can't remember what it was. Not just the thing, but it was
there's been like more than 40 different things.
Yeah.
It was the WBC. I can say it now.
Say it.
Has created all the rules. No
No,
other
yeah.
organization ever.
Oh, and I remember.
From 15 to 12 rounds, 4 ropes, the weigh-ins.
Yeah, the weigh-ins. That's what I was
being
remembering.
24 hours
Yeah, being
before.
24 hours, and that's a good one.
Very important medical examinations.
Yeah, that one. But that
And
one too.
medical research to prevent future things from happening. And right now, the WBC works very close to UCLA.
I like fighting for the WBC because I see it as a piece of history, and for you to win that green belt, that's like owning a piece of history. That's why I want to fight for the WBC.
So Ronnie wanted to wear the green and gold. He had matching gloves to represent the WBC. Ronnie he's got an old soul in him.
Yeah.
He's very loyal. And you got to respect him, and whatever he says, you know, we work, at the end of the day, we work for him, and it's whatever he wants. And if he wants to fight for the WBC, who am I or anybody else to say he needs to fight for anybody else? I'll guarantee you, if somebody said WBO tomorrow for a world champion, he's probably not going to take it.
Yeah.
He's got his eyes on the green belt, and I have to respect him for that. Not too many fighters would do that nowadays because it is all about the money at times.
If you're offered to fight for a WBC title or you're offered $10 million, what do you do?
That's tough.
No, that's not tough because I remember Hector and I was talking about it recently. And I was like fighting for the WBC. I was like to fight Ray Vargas. I was like, I'm not thinking about the money. I was like, I'm not thinking about the money. I'm thinking about the shiny gold part. And I was like, that for me motivates me. That's why I was like, I'm willing to put all the money I have into the resources I need to get better to win that belt. And then my uncle was taking care of me in that city, obviously. And he was always a boxing fan. He always had the Ring magazines in it. And I started reading. One fight that caught my attention was Vernon Forrest versus Shane Mosley Part 2. And I remember I was reading about it. He had already beaten him the first time. So I was like, I've always been competitive. So I was like, I want to try boxing. So then he took me to the gym. And that's where I met Hector. And it was just, from there, it's just been, a crazy, fun experience. It's I can't even put it in words. It's like Hector told me, hey, I want you to take this week off. In my mind, I was like, okay, I was like, damn, what am I gonna do in a week? It's like, but now obviously I have a son, so now I know what to do.
Yeah.
Before it was like, man, a week. I was like, oh, you have so much. It's like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and then you're just like, oh, you know what? It's like I'm just gonna go in the gym. I want to be remembered as a fighter that was willing to fight anybody, old school type of fighter. Like I said, I told Hector, I was like, never said no to a fight. Never. I don't think I will. I'm not like cocky or arrogant. It's the level of competition that drives me, And I just want to be a throwback fighter that was willing to fight the best at their peak. And just hopefully, I see myself as a blue collar guy. I work my butt off. I want to represent the people that work their butt off but never had a voice. They never had a voice or something to speak up for themselves. If I can be any influence to do what you want to do in life, then that means all the world to me.